The word hotspot describes regions with a high priority for conservation because of their abundant biodiversity, high endemism, and significant vulnerability. Hotspots for biodiversity are places with a high concentration of indigenous species. Around the world, 36 areas qualify as hotspots. Their intact habitats represent just 2.5% of Earth's land surface, but they support more than half of the world's plant species as endemics, that is, species found at no place else, and nearly 43% of bird, mammal, reptile, and amphibian species as endemics. There are currently 36 recognized biodiversity hotspots. These are Earth's most biologically rich yet threatened terrestrial regions. To qualify as a biodiversity hotspot, a region must meet two strict criteria. It must have at least 1,500 vascular plants found nowhere else on Earth, known as endemic species. A hotspot, in other words, is irreplaceable. It must have 30% or less of its original natural vegetation or have lost at least 70% of its primary native vegetation. How did the concept of biodiversity hotspots begin? In 1988, British ecologist Norman Myers published a seminal paper identifying 10 tropical forest hotspots. These regions were characterized both by exceptional levels of plant endemism and serious levels of habitat loss. Conservation International adopted Myers hotspots as its institutional blueprint in 1989. In 1996, the organization made the decision to undertake a reassessment of the hotspots concept, including an examination of whether key areas had been overlooked. 3 years later, an extensive global review was undertaken which introduced quantitative thresholds for the designation of biodiversity hotspots and resulted in the designation of 25. In 2005, an additional analysis brought the total number of biodiversity hotspots to 34 based on the work of nearly 400 specialists. In 2011, the forests of East Australia was identified as the 35th hotspot by a team of researchers from the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation working with Conservation International. In February 2016, the North American coastal plain was recognized as meeting the criteria and became the Earth's 36th hotspot. Without species, there would be no air to breathe, no food to eat, no water to drink. There would be no human society at all. The map of hotspots overlaps extraordinarily well with the map of the natural places that most benefit people. That's because hotspots are among the richest and most important ecosystems in the world, and they are home to many vulnerable populations who are directly dependent on nature to survive. Despite comprising 2.5% of Earth's land surface, the forests, wetlands, and other ecosystems in hotspots account for 35% of the ecosystem services that vulnerable human populations depend on.
Biodiversity hotspots in India. India is home to 4 of the world's 36 biodiversity hotspots. The eastern Himalayas are renowned for their diverse flora and fauna, with many species at risk of extinction. The Western Ghats and Sri Lanka region is one of the world's most critical ecosystems, containing thousands of species found nowhere else. The Indo-Burma hotspot, though heavily impacted by human activity, it remains a crucial region for conservation efforts. Lastly, Sundaland. It includes the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, supports a wide variety of marine and terrestrial life forms.